Solete omnes, this is I'm Amelia, also known as TheMartianGeek. And we only have one Maverick left to go, or Investigator. I guess they're not really called Mavericks in this game. Let's do this thing! Metal Shark Player. In the Recycle Lab. Now loading Mega Man X6.
Ready?
This is the Recycle Laboratory. Parts of disposed Mavericks are recycled here. All operations should be stopped now, how are things going? Belt conveyor stopped, but a large compressor is working. It must be the work of the nightmare, there's no signal. Don't get caught in the compressor. Yeah, this might be everyone's favorite stage to hate, because throughout the entirety of the stage you have this giant trash compactor here. And if you get caught between it and the floor, you get squished and killed. I'm the ride armor. Can I get by the compressor with this? The answer would be yes. If you're in the ride armor, on the other hand, it is impossible to get squished. Piles of junk narrow the path. You'll be gone if you get squished by the compressor. I'll be careful. See, look, you can't get squished when you're in the ride armor. Unfortunately, you have to get out here because the ride armor can't jump over this. But if you like, you can leave the ride armor here. Dang it! And if you leave the ride armor here, since the compactor stops when it gets to the armor, it won't go farther down than that for the remainder of this section. Okay. So now that we're not in the ride armor, we're vulnerable to getting crushed, but thanks to the ride armor being there, probably not going to happen. So, Metal Shark Player Stage basically consists of 3 sections. That was the first one, and here's the second one. In each section, you have this trash compactor, and you, want to avoid it, because, getting squished isn't fun. Remember the Layer 2 levels in Super Mario World? Kinda like that. I guess I can leave stuff there. You can destroy those blocks. And each section is more difficult than the previous one was. So the second one's harder than the first one. The third one's harder than the second one. And like I said, a lot of people don't like Metal Shark Player Stage because of the compactor. Although really the compactor is about the only thing that makes this one challenging, or somewhat so. If it weren't for the slight ceiling problem in this one, this stage would probably be only slightly more difficult than the intro stage. There are a lot of cases here where you want the nightmares to chase after you as soon as they're at the edge of the screen, because otherwise they latch onto Reploids and infect them, and you don't want that to happen. And you won't be able to do anything about it, because in this game X can't shoot through walls. And it's a pity, too, because you could shoot through walls just fine in the Super Nintendo, Mega Man X games. I don't know why they got rid of that. It would definitely be useful in X6, I can tell you that much. So what do I think of Metal Shark Player Stage? I really don't think it's all that bad, honestly. I mean, yeah, it can be tricky at times, but my main problem with it isn't that it's extraordinarily difficult, it's just that it's so darn long. There's a nightmare there and you want to lure him out or destroy. Or use the Yammer option. That works. So you can get through there without getting squished. Now you get a choice of pathway here. You can go out there or you can go down here. since going up will lead you to... Whoa, secondary area portal? Nope, not this time. That portal actually doesn't lead you to the secondary area, it just leads you to the third section of the stage. If I'd gone the other way, I would go to the secondary area. Now belt conveyors are also moving. And yeah, it's the Nightmare doing this. Okay. Also, you have some Super Mario Brothers scrolling going on here. The screen goes forward, but it doesn't go backward. So there's a reason why the third section is the most difficult. Well, okay, it would be the most difficult even if it weren't for this the scrolling thing and the conveyor belt. And we have ice. Things just got worse. The ice is Blizzard Wolfang's Nightmare Effect. This is the only stage that Nightmare Effect appears in, and obviously the ice makes it slippery. If it's slippery, you might go where you don't want to, and if you go where you don't want to, you might end up right underneath the trash compactor. And I think we've established that getting squished is not a good thing. You can actually destroy that ice with the charged version of Blizzard Wolfang's weapon, but it's so time-consuming to do so that it's just not really even worth it, in my opinion. It's easier just to go past it. Uh-oh. Spikes? What can you do? You can't jump across the spiny area. They should call this the Freudian Nightmare Effect, because it makes you so likely to slip. Now, unlike the X-Buster, the Z-Saber can go through walls. The problem with Metal Shark Player's stage, like I said, I don't find it all that difficult. It's just so long and so easy to screw up. Also, if there ever was a stage made for using the Speedster, this is it. Okay, wait for it, wait for it, wait for it. Run! Things are starting to get really tricky by this point. And that Nightmare doesn't look like it's gonna... Forget about the Nightmares, about getting Nightmare souls from these guys, you just want them out of the place. So, this is the tricky part, or one of the trickiest parts of the stage, right here. You have to jump up, run, and now that there's spikes below, you have to continuously wall jump on that part of the compactor, not land on the spikes, and then air dash, and then crouch a lot. Alternatively, you could just leave one of the Nightmares alive and let them hit you, and then use the invincibility to get across the spikes. Ow! I was so close and I got squished. See, that's the problem with Metal Shark Player's stage, is if you screw up, you have a lot to cover, and a lot of ground to cover. Man, of all the places I could have gotten squished. The trash compactor also squishes the enemies if it lands on them. And we rescued all the Reploids so we can... Ow! Ram our head into spikes. Yeah, that's a good idea. Metal Shark Player's stage actually might not be all that difficult to do first, because, like, I don't think I've ever died in this stage from hitting too many enemies. Pretty much every death you're gonna have in this stage is from getting squished, or landing on the spikes, or touching the spikes. anything involving spikes is usually not good. I guess it's kind of an exercise in patience and reflexes too, this stage. As much as I support recycling, I don't support the recycling of sentient beings such as Mega Man X. Metal Shark Player some kind of fanatic or something? Do I look like an aluminum can or something to you? I kind of like the music in this stage too. I think it fits the atmosphere for one thing, but it's that interesting time signature change. And hey, that guy, die. Oh yeah, and if you're crouching to avoid the compactor and you stand up, like if I let go of the down button there, you get squished. Obviously in real life, that wouldn't happen because you couldn't stand up, but whatever. I think on extreme mode there's also a nightmare over that pit of spikes. I'm not going to risk going through there, thank you very much. At least those nightmares don't respawn now that their nightmare souls have already been, you know what I mean, despawned or something. I guess Alias tip that she gave you in Blizzard Wolfang stage could apply here too. To stop on the ice, jump instead of trying to correct yourself. So that was the end of it. No more trash compactor. Phew! What next? Mini-boss! Or mid-boss, or whatever you call him. Fortunately, you do get a checkpoint after the third section and before the mini-boss. Mid-boss. Whatever. So it's like a giant nightmare living possessed trash compactor. Drops bombs, it has spiky arms. Those spikes aren't instant death, but obviously they do damage you. Oh yeah, and sometimes it actually presses down like that, and you can either duck or die. I'm pressing the wrong button on my controller. And the only way to kill it is you have to hit the pink parts of this thing. Blade armor is good for this. Probably don't want to have a band concert in Metal Shark Player stage, because chances are you'll end up being flat. Oh boy. This could potentially not end well. The mini-boss is the exception to that. Chances are you won't die from getting hit by enemies. It's plenty easy enough to die from taking damage from the mid-boss. And I'm gonna die. Unless I get really lucky. And I did! So now I have a whole, like, 1 bar of health for Metal Shark Player. I can't believe it. If you're wondering why Metal Shark Player is called Metal Shark Player, we'll get to that. In any case, I got a strong energy signal. It must be an investigator. Investigator here is Metal Shark Player. Stay on guard. So it's So it's he who's been trying to recycle things that should never be recycled. Arrgh. You, what are you up to? Instead of investigating the nightmare, you are manipulating it. It's strange that you are not affected by the nightmare. Hehehe, you have excellent DNA, don't you? I'd like to analyze your DNA once. You must be Metal Shark Player, right? It doesn't matter. I'll get your DNA. Might as well just die now.
Ready?
Now that we have a full life meter. So, Metal Shark Player, his battle is actually probably one of the most interesting ones. And probably one of the most fun, but it's really tricky. You can't really use the blade armor on him because he doesn't stay in one place long enough. Dang it. So yeah, just stick to the charge shot. Metal anchor. Okay, now... Whoa! This has got to be one of the coolest attacks I've seen in any boss in one of these games. Basically, he does that, he stands in the corner like that, and he creates a hologram of Maverick from a previous game. On normal mode, if you're X, you get Magna-Centipede, or Ghost, or whatever you call it, Hologram Ghost. And if you're 0, you get Sting Chameleon. If you're playing on Extreme mode, I think you get whichever one corresponds to your character, and Blast Hornet from Mega Man X3. Magna-Centipede being from X2, and Sting Chameleon from X1. Got the Metal Anchor, a bounding weapon used on the ground. Metal Anchor is kind of one of those okay, it's average weapons, and Rocky Code can attack him down. Like, it's not a bad weapon. You shoot an anchor and it bounces on the ground and runs into stuff and self-destructs when it takes too much damage. But I don't know, I just don't find myself using it all that much. It's not a bad weapon, just... Metal Shark Player, an ex-investigator of Recycle Team. Studied recycling in order to create a new Reploid from parts of disposed Mavericks. The most important part was to analyze and control DNA data of the Mavericks. His analysis ability was so great he succeeded in resurrecting dead Mavericks. Since this is explicitly prohibited, the law instantly dealt with him. Gate was also interested in DNA resurrection, so he encouraged him instead of stopping him. He continued if Gate had stopped him. This Metal Shark was one who learned and played, and labs the polar opposite of dumb. But now that he has gone to join the ghosts he made, 'twas junk he loved, and junk he has become. Goodbye, Metal Shark Player, I shall miss you. Oh yeah, and as for his name, apparently he's called Metal Shark Player because, instead of just Metal Shark, because of his Maverick resurrection thing. Like it was a corruption of Metal Shark Prayer, like he's praying to resurrect the dead Mavericks. So, kind of an interesting bit of data there. Oh, and Metal Shark Player's Nightmare Effect is the only one that affects 3 stages. With Heat Mixes, Infinity Maginians, and Ground Scaraviches. First, it's not that annoying in the first 2 stages, Blaze Heat Mixes and Infinity Maginians, I mean, but in Ground Scaraviches, it can be kind of a pain. You'll see when I actually do his stage. So, that's all 8 investigators down. Yes. But anyway, that's the end of this video, and thank you for watching. I shall see you next time.